got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority and the Supernatural Show. And we're going to take a look at something that actually Shannon kind of brought to my attention, and then I started digging on it a little bit more and found some very interesting things. We're just going to start with what we're talking about is the 2024 Great Eclipse X, which is what I have unfortunately had to name it. There are 45 days left, and we are still looking for people that want to be a cameraman, just using your cell phone. It's real simple to come here and register for that event if you're going to be in the path of totality. But what are we here talking about today? What we're here talking about today is cities that are in the path of totality that are biblical in name. Okay. Now, let's look at this list here. We just started out with Jerusalem or Jerusalem. Okay. And I ran a search on this nifty little tool called Eclipse24.org. And it has a list of all cities that are in the eclipse path. And we've got 4 Jerusalems in the path of the eclipse. And this is just where it starts. Okay. We've got Jerusalem, Arkansas. This is the page for the Jerusalem, Arkansas, and what the eclipse will be looking like on that day at different moments in time. And so if I slide this forward, you can see the moon start moving in, and we get a 100% totality eclipse at Jerusalem, Arkansas, and which starts at about 1:50 and 30 some seconds p.m., 1:50 p.m., and lasts to about 1:55 p.m. That's Central Time. And so, and as you can see by the little map up here in the top right-hand corner, it is a basically dead center path that the shadow, or as they claim, takes across, or the totality path takes across Jerusalem, Arkansas. It is a bullseye hit, you might say. Okay. And so we are finding that, I am finding that very interesting. So now let's take a look at the next city, which is Jerusalem, New York. Sorry about the background noise. Let's go down and look at it. Here is Jerusalem, New York. Okay. But let's take a look at the path and what it will look like from there. All right. I haven't looked at this yet, so we're going to take a look at it. Let's zoom the sun up here, and let's move the time forward and see what we get. Everybody loves a loud muffler here. And we get totality once again in New York, Jerusalem, New York. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So now let's take a look at Jerusalem, Vermont. Again, I have not looked at this, but we're going to look at it. There's Jerusalem, Vermont, a little map. And let's take a look at what type of eclipse we get for Jerusalem, Vermont. All right. So it moves in, and we get totality once again for Jerusalem, Vermont. Yep. And it starts there at around right around 326, 327, about 327, and lasts until about 329 in 328, 58 or 29, right in there. But we have totality on the third Jerusalem. So now let's go back and look at New Jerusalem, Ohio. See what kind of eclipse we have there. So there is New Jerusalem, Ohio. Let's zoom it up once again. And let's move the time forward. Totality once again, right at about 3:10 Eastern time. 3:10 and 10 seconds, something like that. It goes on to three, right at the end of 3 minutes and 13 seconds, going into 3 minutes or 3 hours, 3:13 p.m. into 3:14 p.m. If you want to know the exact times, all you have to do is come to this website, eclipse2024.org, and pull up these cities. Okay. So now we have that. Let's take a look at another city. Let's look at Bethlehem. And guess what? We have 3 cities. Bethlehem, Arkansas, once again. Bethlehem, Ohio, and Bethlehem, Texas. Let's take a look at the eclipse for Bethlehem, Arkansas. You can see where it's at on the map there. And let's take a look. And there's something else I want to show you that I find quite strange and interesting, and I'll explain why. Let's go forward in time. Let's watch the eclipse come in. Okay. Here we go. Boom. Totality, right? Let me look at something to see if it's showing up on this one or not. It's not. That is weird. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I happened to notice it when I was looking back here at New Jerusalem. Let me see if this one does it too. Now look at New Jerusalem. Let's zoom this up some more. You're going to find this interesting. Okay, do you notice anything on this eclipse that's a little different than, say, this one? The imagery. Okay. Look right here. Okay. So right when the eclipse takes place, I want you to focus on this area right here. So when totality hits, right in here, right? Don't see anything going on up here, but look at this one. This is for New Jerusalem, Ohio. It shows a big piece of fire coming out of the upper left-hand side of the sun here. Like some kind of a flash of fire, which is like my vision I had the other night, or rather the other morning. You see, what's interesting is in the upper left-hand corner up here is where they say the Devil's Comet is going to be off of the eclipse up over here to the left-hand side of the view from when you're looking up at the sun. And I find it very interesting that this imagery happens to have a solar flare showing. Let me show you closer with a magnifier or something. Hang on just a second. Let me show you here. Let me bring like a magnifier up on the screen. Look up here in the upper left-hand corner. That would be a solar flare. And it's at 3:10 Eastern time. 3:10 Eastern time. If you go around the whole surface of this image of the eclipse, you won't see anywhere where there's anything else like that, where there's fire blowing out on the side. There's nowhere except for right here in the upper left, just like in the iPad Go video. Somebody might not know what I'm talking about, where it shows the comet coming in to the upper left of the eclipse in the Heliofont logo. Yep, right there. I think that is significant. Now, if we come, say, to the next one, this one here, this was for Jerusalem, Vermont. Again, it does not show it on this one. I'm not sure all which ones it is showing that on. Let's go to this one. This is Jerusalem, New York. Yeah, it's not showing it on this one either. How about over here? Let's zoom this up a little bit more again. Well, we got a match again on this one. I'll show you. It's right there on the left again. Right here. Let me show you. Now, this would have to be intentionally done. Look, it looks a little different than the other one. So this is intentional. Holy smokes. So whoever created Eclipse24.org, who would you imagine is behind this website? Let's see if we can figure out at all. Let's see if we can happen to, that's not it. Let's go back over here. let's use this one, and let's go to the home page. The amount of work that would have to go into this website would be huge. And it has the URL of eclipse24.org. So this is obviously a website that they own. But let's take a look. Let's see if we can see anything. It says that Eclipse24.org is owned and operated by Eclipse2017.org, Incorporated, a for-profit company. But who owns Eclipse 2017 and Eclipse 24 is the question. Let us open up Eclipse 2017 also here. And go to the, this is supposedly the contact page. It says Dan McGlon out of Clayton, Indiana. And this website hasn't been updated, obviously. Let's see if we take the web address. And we go to ICANN, who is. ICANN, who is, may give us an idea about this website. Okay, we're looking, says it's not valid. Entered a domain name. I did, but maybe I don't need that on there. Let's try it again. Okay. Says servers are out of Emerson and Virginia, NS, whatever that is. Ain't no telling. Says it was registered in 2007. Okay. And it says it has a private registration, so you can't see who actually owns it. But the mailing address, but it's probably a proxy mailing address, like it says here, is out of Tempe, Arizona. Registrar information, and that has to do with the site that it's registered on, which is GoDaddy. Was last updated today. And I'm sure they're getting a lot of traffic. Okay, that's about all we can see there. Very interesting. So they're hiding their real identity when it comes to who really owns it. And the site that would have this kind of accuracy built in isn't owned by just somebody, a flunky like me. They've got to have a whole team of individuals working on this website. Yep, absolutely. All right. So now what we've done is we have identified a strange anomaly on several ones of these. You see how you got this one here with, let me turn the magnifier back on. Matter of fact, let me zoom this up some more. There we go. Turn the magnifier back on. Come up here. Let me show you what it looks like. See, it looks like a solar flare in the upper left quadrant of the eclipse. Okay. Now, if we come over here to this one, you can see that there's nothing there on this side or anywhere. If we go to the next one, there's nothing there. But if we go to the next one, there is something there. Let me zoom it up all the way. And it's similar but different, as you see here in a second. You see, we got another solar flare coming off that's a little bit lower from this perspective. Of course, this is a different state that we're looking at here. Let me turn this back off. So this is Salem, Arkansas, that's showing a solar flare. And, Jerusalem, Arkansas. And the other one that is showing it is New Jerusalem, Ohio. But Jerusalem, Vermont is not showing it. And Jerusalem, New York is not showing it. There's not one on there anywhere. I think that is very interesting. Okay, was there one on Bethlehem, Arkansas? I don't think there was. Now, I don't know why one would have it and would not show a solar flare. See what looks like a pop of light right here. But that's it. Don't actually see a solar flare. Okay, so let's go to the next city. That would be Bethlehem, Ohio. So let's see what we see there. All right. Where am I going? Right here. Okay, let's zoom up. Move forward in time. Totality. I don't see a flare on this one. So did they just put it on just a few of them just to kind of give a hint but not show it everywhere for people to notice consistently? So that only someone like me that pays attention to every detail would notice such a thing. You can see that totality takes place at approximately 3:11 to 3:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in Bethlehem, Ohio. So let's go to Bethlehem, Texas. Bethlehem, Texas. All right. So let's zoom it up. Let's move forward in time into the eclipse with totality coming up. Here we go. Oh boy, look at that. Now we got two solar flares. Holy moly. I'm not kidding. And they're different again. Oh my God. my vision I had the other morning is starting to look a lot more viable. Oh boy. Let me show them to you. Here's the one down here on the side, right there. You see the red fire. And then there's another one up above, right there. Now you have to understand how graphics work. If I was to build this to make this look like this, any little thing that's in here, I have to choose it as the web editor. I have my own website. I happen to know how this stuff works. The supernatural.show. It's an elaborate website. And this would definitely have to be intentional. 100% absolute intentional. Wow. Y'all guys, I hope, are blowing this video up about now. Yep. Look at there. We've got another solar flare being depicted. Okay. All right. Cities. How about Jericho? Would that be a good one to look at? Well, we got 3 Jerichos. We got Jericho, Vermont, Jericho, New Brunswick, and Jericho Center, Vermont. Okay. So let's go. Let's look at Jericho, Vermont. Come down. There's kind of the map. Go ahead and jump over here and look at the eclipse and see if we got any solar flares and look at the times. Okay, moving in on totality. Here it comes. There we are. See, no depiction of a flare is shown anywhere on here again. You see coming down the left side, nothing's there. All the way around, just for you naysayers, nothing. It would be easier to recreate these eclipses, the images of these eclipses, without having to build in solar flares on some of them. And what was it we just had? An X6 something, a huge solar flare yesterday, and 2 other X classes, X1s, which were a lot lower, several days ago. And all of the cellular companies were shut down for an hour and a half. Huh? Anybody smell any coffee brewing? Anyone? Okay, let's look at the next city. Jericho, New Brunswick. Jericho, New Brunswick. Where'd the map go? I'm not showing a map. Okay, well, that's all right. We'll just look at the eclipse. Jericho, New Brunswick. See what we see. And totality coming up. Bam, right there. And we have no solar flares depicted around it. Totality starts at about 4:32. That's ADT time. Yeah. All right. I think we've got something going on. something going on. Let's look at another one here. Let's look at Nineveh. We have two of them. Do you know the story of Jonah? Now, I actually happen to know that there are 3 or 4 more Ninevehs that are not in totality, but they are affected or covered by the eclipse, just not totality. But let's look at Nineveh. The story of Jonah and the 3 days in the belly of the beast, 3 days of darkness. Remember that story? So there's Nineveh. Okay. Let's look. This is Nineveh, Indiana. Let's zoom in on the little graphic they got going here. Move forward in time. Get over to totality. Here goes totality. And no solar flare depicted. Totality taking place at about 3:05 and 42 seconds Eastern Daylight Time. Nineveh had an eclipse. When Jonah went into the city after being given a whipping by God on the seas and in the belly of the beast, of the whale, whatever you want to call it, he went into Nineveh and he was told to warn them that if they did not repent of their wicked ways, that God was going to destroy the city. And it was one of the most powerful cities known to man at the time. And they were wicked. But he went in and warned them, and then an eclipse happened as soon as he arrived. And they repented, and God spared the city. Can you smell that coffee cooking? I can. All right. We got a lot more cities to do. Let's look at Nineveh, Ohio. Nineveh, Ohio. Moving forward in time. Totality coming up. And I see a solar flare. Holy moly, I see 2 of them in different positions again. There's no way this is by chance. No way. Look, right up here, the big one. And over here on the left side. Holy smokes. Where's my magnifier? Look at this one up here. Holy smokes. That is clear, predictive, hidden, occulted programming, 100%. There's the other one on the left-hand side. Oh boy. So they think there's going to be a major solar event, just like, that looks like the devil's head. Got horns even on top of it. Just like my vision that I told y'all guys about in my last video. Holy, or last live show, one of the two. Wow. What do you say, guys? What do you think? Put your comments down below. I ain't making this up. This ain't my website. I just come on here to track the cities I didn't know I was going to find. It showing explosions coming off of the sun. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to keep researching on these. I'm going to go through all the cities, biblical names, and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to stay right on it and keep putting out videos after this. I hope y'all guys appreciate this work. And I hope you'll consider supporting this work because I'm living on air. And only support I get is through the people. That's who I do it for. That's who I work for. It's just I don't always get paid. So, and I have other people I would like to help too, like Brother Dan and Sister Shannon. So if you don't mind, send $1, $5, something below so I can share some money with some other people that are in tight spots themselves. I love you. I'm going to be putting out more videos about this immediately. I'm updating you on all the rest of the cities. I love you. Father in heaven loves you. All links are below.